This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2467. Conscious Spending. It's about the little purchases and the big wins, by Kalen Bruce of freedomsprout.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Now let's get right to it as we optimize your life. Conscious Spending. It's about the little purchases and the big wins, by Kalen Bruce of freedomsprout.com. My 7-year-old asked me if we were ever going to be millionaires. I told him he would be by default because of our investing and savings patterns. I told him anyone could be a millionaire eventually if they planned it out. Then my 13-year-old chimed in and said, yeah, it's how you manage and spend your money. I couldn't have been more proud. Homebrew millionaires. Years ago, when it seemed like everyone started reading finance books, one of the main ideas woven through most popular books was how making small decisions could lead to huge financial success. The idea came off like this: stop buying that Starbucks, brew your own coffee at home, and save that $5 a day. Keep doing that and you'll be a millionaire. I know, it's kind of a leap, but it's not far off from what the books were saying. It's called the latte factor, popularized by David Bach, but others were saying the same thing. That idea led to all kinds of articles, social media posts, and memes. People made fun of it, and plenty of bloggers still do. And I get it. The idea sounds funny, and obviously it's not true that you'll be a millionaire just by making one $5 a day change. This also led to finance writers with a different idea in mind, namely Ramit Sethi in his book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Don't get me wrong, it's a good book, but Ramit capitalized on the concept of all these books telling you how brewing your own coffee could make you a millionaire. Ramit suggested it's not about saving a few bucks here and there, it's about big wins. He teaches his readers to, quote, spend extravagantly on the things you love and cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't, end quote. Here's a quote from I Will Teach You to Be Rich to explain more of his mindset. Quote, this book isn't about telling you to stop buying lattes. Instead, it's about being able to actually spend more on the things you love by not spending money on all the knucklehead things you don't care about. Look, it's easy to want the best of everything. We want to go out all the time, live in a great apartment, buy new clothes, drive a new car, and travel anytime we want. The truth is, you have to prioritize. My friend Jim once called to tell me that he'd gotten a raise at work. On the same day, he moved into a smaller apartment. Why? Because he doesn't care very much about where he lives, but he loves spending money on camping and biking. That's called conscious spending, end quote. He's right about big wins being the key to true financial change, but we can't forget about the little purchases because they do still add up, regardless of whether or not they'll be the difference in you being poverty-stricken or millionaire-bound. Shifting the focus away from small purchases. So we've shifted our focus from thinking the latte is a problem to thinking the new big screen and where we choose to live is the problem. Often, they're both the problem. The more we think it's only about big wins, the less we care about that candy and soda at the convenience store. The key is to think about both, conscious spending, as Ramit says. We need our kids to understand that our finances aren't determined only by big wins or only by small buys. Our financial future is based on every single choice we make. It's this conscious spending mindset that leads to financial freedom. Fortunately, there's a way to make sure we're focusing on the small and the big, and as I always try to do, I'm going to bring in a practical solution to help. Create indulgence categories in your budget. As ugly of a word as it is, a budget is the key to conscious spending. This isn't just another finance article ending by telling you that you need a budget, but I guess that is kind of what I'm doing. Hear me out. You don't need a budget to make sure you track how you spend $2.21 on that soda as opposed to only remembering the $2 you spent. You simply need a budget to show you exactly where your money is going. Even if you just track your spending and don't necessarily categorize and budget, you'll see huge results. When you do start to budget, set categories for the things you indulge in. If you're a daily coffee buyer, create a category for those lattes. If you buy a bag of chips from the vending machine every day to go with your lunch at work, create a bag of chips category. A pack of cigarettes, a couple beers a day, whatever it is, give it its own category. At the end of the month, you'll see how much you really spend on the small things you don't think about. Multiply that by 12 to see how much you spend a year and to scare yourself into changing your habits. The same principle applies to large purchases. If you buy a new TV, don't put that $1,200 TV into your entertainment category. Create a new TV category for that month. Do the same with a new computer, Bluetooth speaker, camera. Choose your poison, but make a special category for it. Then you can look back across the year and see all of the big purchases you've made and how they add up over the year. Again, it's all about being conscious of where your money's going. That's the goal here. Try it for a few months and see if you're spending like you think you are. You just listened to the post titled Conscious Spending. It's about the little purchases and the big wins by Kalen Bruce of freedomsprout.com.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. No matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take your business to the next level. Shopify is the commerce platform that makes it easy to show up and sell exactly the way you want to. No need to code or design. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period today. Visit shopify.com/offer23 to get started.
Labor strikes, climate change, your failing office printer. What do they all have in common? Come on, it's all about the money. Economics is everywhere and everything fueling our lives. If you're a fan of Optimal Finance Daily and are curious to learn something new and exciting about economics every week, check out the Planet Money podcast from NPR. Planet Money is a different kind of world where the complex economy actually makes sense. Credit scores may sound complex, but Planet Money can give you simple tips so that you can make better financial decisions. A famous baseball player isn't just good at baseball. He also knows how to be a better investor. The topics are virtually endless, and you'll get answers to questions like, will AI take over our jobs? Or is fancy vodka just fancy marketing? The Planet Money team lives to tell a good story in around 30 minutes. Tune in to Planet Money every week for entertaining stories and insights about how money shapes our world. Listen now to Planet Money from NPR, wherever you get your podcasts. While I agree that not buying Starbucks isn't going to radically change your financial life, I think there's an underlying message in the latte factor. It's much more about hyper awareness than not spending $5. That coffee represents all the small, unconscious ways that money is leaving your wallet. And awareness on the small ways you're spending money can help you modify your behavior over time as well as create realistic budgets. One of the keystone habits that has really helped me financially is tracking every dollar I spend in the moment that I'm buying something. This helps me create a realistic budget because I'm able to clearly see the average of what I actually spent in each category over the last year. It also helps me track my progress as I'm working on modifying behaviors. Clearly seeing how much I'm actually spending in each category allows me to continue to question how much that spending is adding true value to my life. So using the coffee example, if I saw that I spent $50 this month on going out to Starbucks, I can reflect on that experience and ask myself, did I get $50 of value from that, or was I just as content on the days where I made coffee at home? I ask myself this question every time I order takeout, which isn't often. In the last 2 months, I ordered takeout once, and it was a great reminder that I could have cooked something more satisfying for much less money. And that's another weekend edition of Optimal Finance Daily in the books. Thanks so much for your support and for listening every day, of course. Have a great rest of your weekend if you're listening in real time, and I'll be back tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.